happening? So, just still been thinking about this series. That's my go-to. But yeah, I've been thinking about this series and how it played out. Thinking about the mind frame of the two teams and their superstars coming into the series, as well along with throughout the series. And I was dead wrong on Game 7, by the way. I mean, for every way I will tell y'all I was right, I'm always the first one to admit when I'm wrong. Ways I was right. I'm gonna find the post. I keep saying I'm gonna find the post. I ain't looked for it, but I'm gonna find the post. I'm gonna try to. Hopefully, I can find the very first post because I said it multiple times. But I hope I can find the very first time. I keep saying January, but it might have been December. But I know it was at least in January when I said for the first time, Wemby can do it. Wemby can be the one that goes completely against the grain. Hold on real quick. Hey, what y'all doing? See, that's the thing. That's the thing right there though. You say you about to teach them. Well, you still got to go to the back. First and foremost, you didn't cut this yard, but I'm still looking at trash, bro. That means you just ran over the trash. You didn't pick the shit up. You moved it out the way you was finna get it. Okay, sure. Let's just make sure we do that because I see a whole fucking can way over there. Which why is that can even over there? I don't know. I have suspicions about that shit. But anyway, you talking about you about to show them how to do it. You still got to get in that backyard. So it's already 7:45. You're not just gonna say I'm showing them, then I'm walking off because he's gonna fuck up. He hasn't used that, right? Right? So he's gonna fuck up. So what might be the better thing, the smarter thing to do is for y'all to go ahead and take care of whatever you can take care of in that back, or go ahead and show him, but you got to still be right here with him to make sure he's doing it right, and either he don't fuck up that or fuck up this. Okay? Say, nigga, Pooh Shiesty had a nigga like me, a real nigga like me around, he wouldn't have became a crash out and wouldn't be about to spend the rest of his goddamn life behind bars, or at least the rest of his youth. He'd be out here getting money. Funny guy. But anyway, y'all niggas do stupid shit. But anyway, I've been said that, you know, throughout most of the season. Like Wemby was showing me throughout most of the season that, yo, man, he could be one of the ones, man. You know, so like we haven't seen that since Tim Duncan. I'm not saying I don't respect what Bill Russell was and what Bill Russell did. I can't be a true basketball historian and say that, but I am a Laker fan, so I'll just leave it at that. You know, there was like 8 teams. There was like 2 that were really good. You only had to win like 2 rounds to win the championship. Shit was just different in the 50s and 60s, bro. But whatever. Russell is who he is. I have him top 10 all time because of who he is. I give respect to him. I'll say I respect Bill Russell, the man, and Bill Russell, the black man, and the philanthropist, and the fighter for us as a people more than I do as a basketball player, but I still have to give him the respect that he's due as a basketball player. And when I really look into it, like, even though he was super small, when you think about it, like, Bill Russell was really like the size of like T-Mac or some shit. But that nigga still could have he could have played in different eras. He could have. But when Russell did what Russell did, it wasn't as difficult, right? Then the next person was Lou Alcindor. Kareem, nobody can take shit away from Kareem. You can't take shit away from Kareem. Kareem is the most successful basketball player ever because he did it at every single level. From high school, shit at the fucking Rucker, wasn't he with the Globetrotters? I know Wilt was with the Globetrotters. I don't think Kareem was with the Globetrotters. But through college at UCLA and in the league. So when Kareem did it, it was not as easy as when Russell did it, but it got harder later, right? So then the next person to do it was Magic. When Magic did it, you know, I would say it was even harder because Magic was reviving the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Kareem hadn't won since being a Laker. Kareem needed what Magic provided, right? And you know, then Magic is so legendary and revolutionary with how he changed how the game is played and how the game is looked at, right? Those three guys, Russell did it the late 50s, Kareem did it the early 70s, and then Magic did it in 80. So you're talking about roughly 25 years. Roughly 25 years. You had Russell come in and immediately dominate. Kareem came in, won quick. Magic came in, immediately dominated. 25 years. It didn't happen again until almost 20 years later with Tim Duncan. I still feel the Spurs finessed some shit like a motherfucker to pull that shit off. And they started it when David first got there. You know what I'm saying? They started it a decade prior by getting David Robinson, you know, maneuvering and finessing shit to get David Robinson. And they finessed it even more to get Timmy. Okay? It is what it is. It is what it is. Wemby comes along literally 25 years later. Think about this. In the first 25 years, we saw Bill Russell, Kareem, and Magic all come into the league and immediately dominate. You can even add Bird in there, really. You can really kind of even add Bird in there in a sense. But we saw 3 or 4 guys in the first 25 years. It then took 20 years before we saw another guy do it in Tim Duncan. It is now, and Wemby ain't did it yet. The job is not finished yet. But it's now been 25 years. Wemby comes along. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, those other 4 guys, they all won within their first 2 years. Magic was a rookie. Russell might have been a rookie. Kareem, I think, was like second year. Russell could have been second year too, I'm not sure. Russell was first and second. Kareem, I do believe, was second. And Magic, again, was a rookie. And Bird was like second or third. This is Wemby's third year. But it's his first year in the playoffs. That's why this has been such a discussion all year. You know, I give myself credit for naming Chris Paul the point guard. My little brother, he'll be on this show one day. We never heard that mentioned before. I need to do a Google search, a Chat GPT search. I need to find out when was the first time somebody on TV called Chris Paul Point God. Because I guarantee you, whatever the origin is behind Chris Paul being called Point God, and we're going to get to Chris Paul in this conversation as well. I guarantee you, Jody said it first. I fucking did, bro. I fucking did. And to just prove that, like I said, when I'm right, I want my fucking credit. I'm 39. It took me 36, 37 years before I finally said that shit. I used to be fine just not getting credit, doing for others, quietly, suffering alone, always being the one that you could call on and nah, nigga, I want my fucking credit. I think I was the first one to call Wemby a fucking alien. I think, but I don't take credit for it because I don't know. I can't. It is crazy because Chris Paul been called Point God for like 10, 15 years. Wemby been called alien for 3. But I distinctly, some shit like that. I remember clearly, motherfucker. I hadn't heard nobody say Point God because I think I might have said it on accident and just liked the shit. Was like, hell yeah, that nigga, yeah, Point God. Nigga, hell yeah, he the Point God. I said that shit first. With Wemby, I don't know. Maybe I did hear somebody say alien and I was just like, man, that's a dope ass nickname. And maybe I was just saying it more so in my city more frequently because I was on Wemby before everybody. I definitely was on Wemby when he was in France and motherfuckers was like, man, that nigga ain't gonna be shit, that nigga ain't gonna be shit, that nigga ain't gonna be shit. I'm like, shit. Shit. All right, that's what y'all want to believe. That's what y'all want to believe. Trust me, Kevin Durant made me stop doubting tall, skinny, lanky niggas. Cause, I watched Kevin in Montreal. I thought he was dope. I loved him in Texas. Nigga was fucking amazing. You gotta think that was 06. Had just saw Melo. That was 06, 07 season. Had just saw Melo 02, 03. Didn't think I would see something better than that as a freshman. But KD was something the fuck else. And then, that was that one and done era. You had Rose and Beasley the next year who was killing it. A couple years later, AD. We had Jahlil Okafor and Jabari Parker. They definitely did their thing, more so in a team sense. Love John Wall and Boogie. But KD made that shit more frequent because KD's class was the first class that had to go to college. But as dope as I saw KD as being, and as much as I felt like he was the best player coming out in 07, because I just didn't fuck with Greg Oden, it could have just been he went to Ohio State. I wasn't sure what he was going to do in the league. And then he went to Seattle and Calissimo had him playing shooting guard. I'm like, bro, this nigga is 7 foot, bro. They list him at 6'9". I've seen him stand next to Greg Oden, bro. He's fucking taller. I'm like, this nigga is 6'11", bro. Y'all got this nigga playing shooting guard? You got to remember, bro, we talking about 2007, 2008, bro. That shit was that shit wasn't normal. We wasn't in positionless basketball yet. And he was just so fucking skinny, bro. I'm like, man, he just looked too fragile. Nigga ended up being one of my favorite players up until 2016. After Kobe and Carmelo, he was my favorite player until like 2014. That's when Russ became my favorite. But, them last 2 years in OKC, he remained like in my top 5 favorite players. I was telling niggas, bro. I was telling Spurs fans before Wemby became a Spur, when Wemby became a Spur, bro, this guy is the fucking truth, bro. We ain't never seen no shit like this, bro. That's why I'm really trying to remember who first said he was the alien. Because I said that shit when he was still in France. I said that shit when he was still in France. I was like, bro, this motherfucker's an alien, bro. I'm like, we've had the unicorn. Like, we've had KD. KD was really the first unicorn, but we didn't call him that. You know what I'm saying? Kristaps Porzingis came, and we called him the unicorn because he was a legit 7'2", 7'3", and he could shoot the three, you know, with ease. He was blocking shots like he was. Kristaps Porzingis was nice. I always say, as much as people know me to love Luka, and they try to call me a Luka apologist, which is crazy, because I'm not, because we can go back to his Maverick days. I held Luka the most accountable all the time. I literally blame Luka for it not working with him and Porzingis. Like I always said, Luka didn't take the time early in games to get Porzingis involved enough to where he would have him still focused and aware and ready to help him in the fourth quarter. Porzingis was nice. He still got potential to be helpful and useful. You know what I'm saying? He played a big part with who was it, Boston a couple years ago. If the Warriors can make the right changes this summer, he can help play a big part next year for the Warriors not being done yet. One last hurrah type shit. Porzingis is still nice. It's just he can't stay healthy. But KD and Porzingis were the two who really made me say, look, I can't just doubt motherfuckers just because they tall and skinny. So when I was hearing about Wemby, I was skeptical just like everybody else. But when I actually saw him and I saw how he moved, that's the thing that made me say he's an alien. Because I couldn't say he's a unicorn because we already used that with KP. So the next best thing was to say he's an alien. Because KP was something that we hadn't seen before at his size, being able to do what he can do. Just by how he could shoot. But with Wemby, it was different because with him, it's how he moved. It wasn't just the fact that he could shoot the three, but it's how he looked like a guard, dribbling, going lateral, pulling up mid-range, even his finishes. This is all in the first game I watched him play. And that's all it took. That's all it took for me to say, this kid is a fucking alien. He's not human. He was built in a fucking lab. So again, we got to come back to them origin stories. I got to find out the first person to publicly say on a national TV that Chris Paul was point guard and that Wembanyama was an alien. Because right now, I'm telling you 100%, I know I named Chris Paul point guard. And I'm telling you, it's about a 50-50 chance that I named Wemby alien. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. But neither here nor there. Wemby, more so than how incredible his attributes are as far as like what he does on the basketball court. This season, what I have loved and enjoyed about Wembanyama the most, what has made him one of my favorite players of this era and this generation, is his mentality. That's a kid that, as much as he fucking truly loves to win and truly loves the game of basketball, he fucking hates losing. He don't want to lose shit. It's very reminiscent of Bean and Jeffrey Jordan. It's very fucking reminiscent. Bean and MJ. Very fucking reminiscent. And I remember a few years ago saying, if Kyrie was 6'6", he'd be one of the best offensive players of all time. Look at Luka. Luka is already at 6'7". He looking like one of the greatest offensive players of all time. Luka he don't have the handle that Kyrie has, but he got literally every fucking thing else. And if Kyrie was 6'6", you're literally talking about a guy who has that killer mindset like Kobe. He looked up and idolized Kobe. And offensively, there's nothing he can't do. It's just he's 6'2". If he was 6'6", he'd be fucking completely unstoppable. You look at Russell Westbrook, who's 6'3". If he could shoot, first off, even at 6'3", if he could just shoot, if he had half of Steph or half of Dame's shot, Russ would be one of the greatest players of all time at 6'3", because of his heart, his mentality, along with his will. And now you give him that skill of shooting. Who can fuck with Russ? Kobe and Michael were 6'6". They had that heart, that determination. You know, I always said Russ was like if Kobe and Iverson had a baby, it was Russell Westbrook. These guys I'm mentioning, they have that heart, they have that will, that mentality, and just that killer instinct. It's just Russ didn't have the consistent shot long enough. AI was just so fucking miniature. Talking about 6'1", 165 type shit. Kobe and Mike, they were the prototype. Kyrie, small. Wembanyama, though, you're taking those type of guys' mentalities, then what he learned and got from Kevin Garnett. He couldn't talk to Kobe. He couldn't go touch and talk to Kobe and learn directly from Kobe, but he could from Kevin Garnett. Then his skill set, and he could go touch and talk to and learn from Jamal Crawford. Then just the thought process to even say, I'm gonna fucking go over here and sit and meditate with monks. His mentality is what I have loved the most. That's what I am becoming such a fan of. So I was right on these things. I was maybe on these things. Let's get to where I was wrong. I'm not even taking credit for calling the Western Conference Finals matchup. I think we all knew that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I've been saying, I've been vocal, the Pistons fucked up my Eastern Conference championship matchup. What I was wrong on. I said the Spurs would have to win the series in 6. I said the Spurs could not go into Oklahoma City, which I have continuously said since the Seattle Supersonics moved to Oklahoma City. They have the absolute best fans in basketball. I didn't feel like the Spurs could go into Game 7 in OKC and win. The Thunder have not lost back-to-back playoff games in like fucking 30-something. I don't know. It's crazy, right? Yeah, back-to-back games, let alone playoff games. And I didn't feel like the one that they would lose would be Game 7 at home. And ultimately, I said the only way the Spurs could get that done is if Wemby had another 40-20 type game, at least a 30-15 type game. Wemby had 22 points and 7 rebounds. How in the fuck does Oklahoma City lose that game when Wemby had 22 and 7? That's crazy. That shit is insane to me. How does it happen? I'll tell you. This season, the Spurs were like 0.2 points, I think, from Harrison Barnes being their 8th guy, to average double digits. No team has done that in NBA history. Wemby only played around 30 minutes a game this regular season. What did that do? He still had his mentality, he still had his skill, and he shows great leadership. But him not being on the court as much, it enabled these other guys to grow. Stephon Castle, Rookie of the year after Wemby last year. Dylan Harper, number 2 overall pick this year. Devin Vassell, who's been beyond solid for a long fucking time, right? Wemby, Vassell, Castle, Harper. That's the young folk. D. Fox comes in as a veteran leader. Champagne, he was a castaway, and he comes in and shows what he can do and what he can be. Keldon Johnson, 6th man of the year, accepting that role and doing it so fucking well. Like, they were a team. And that's what they ultimately leaned on in Game 7, is being a team. Saying, no, it's not all on you, Wemby. We got your back. As for Oklahoma City, like I said last night, we're not making any excuses because they've been the most dominant team in the NBA the past couple of years. So I'm not going to allow excuses to be made. However, Shea didn't have help in Game 7, and that's just a fact. Chet was the number 2 overall pick. Chet was supposed to be the one that had Shea's back at all times. He was supposed to be the all-star, the all-NBA player, defensive player of the year, all-defensive guy. Chet is afraid of Victor Wembanyama, and that's sad. But I don't know. I can't recall, and I could be tripping. Ronnie, help me. I could be tripping, but I cannot recall in a 7-game series, especially that actually went 7 games, where I saw a player literally fear a guy on the other team that much, where the guy who was being feared, like it was his goal to take your soul. I'm not talking about Jordan up against niggas he played. I'm not talking about that. Let's just be real. That's different. Kobe up against niggas that's different. When Shaq fouled out against Indiana and Kobe said, chill, I got this, he was 21. Jalen Rose, Reggie Miller, the Davis boys, Rick Smith, who else was on that team? Chris Mullin, Mark Jackson, that little nigga. Them niggas didn't fear Kobe. Kobe was 21. He was a baby. They knew what he was and what he had the potential to be, but he didn't strike fear in their hearts. That was his coming out party. That's when he went into the next season as a champion at 21. And now it was some niggas that was like, damn, this nigga really might be the next Jordan type shit. Everybody knows Vic is like, what the fuck is this nigga? Bro, you're real. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But you fear Wemby in the sense of, I can't go get this easy layup because he gonna send it that way. Chet 7'2", at least 7'1". He's 7'1", 7'2". Yes, Wemby got you by 3-4 inches in height. He got you probably by about 30 to 50 pounds in weight. But he's only like that much bigger than you. Both of y'all skinny as fuck. I'm a Chet Holmgren fan. At least I was. I don't know if I can be anymore. I just really don't know if I can be anymore. I've been a believer that, damn, Dub and came in and he's Shea's number 2. He solidified being Shea's number 2 last year. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Dub and Shea's number 2. I've been the one saying, but what about Chet? Like, Chet the dude, Chet the guy. Now, I'm wondering where Chet about to end up. Because if I'm Sam Presti, in the words of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the greatest GM ever, If I'm Sam Presti, I gotta figure something out because I can't trust Chet because Vic is not going anywhere. The Spurs are not going anywhere, and I can't trust you. I can't trust you. It wasn't that Victor outplayed you. I can live with Victor outplaying you. He took your will. He took your heart. He took your soul, Chet. Like I said, I've watched Chet since his senior year in high school, before college. I'm a fan of Chet. I am a fan of Chet. I've always been a fan of Chet. I remember when Chet and Wemby played each other, you know, in that high school All-American game. And Vic threw that temper tantrum because Chet beat him. I fuck with Chet. It's hard to fuck with Chet after this. Again, I'm 39. I was born in 87. I can vividly tell you what I remember watching with my own two eyes since Jordan before he retired type shit. I've watched a lot of basketball. I've played basketball. I've coached basketball. I've analyzed basketball. I've done everything when it came with basketball except for get to travel and make money off of it. But I know this fucking game. If you know Jody Lagway, then you know I fucking know ball. And I love this shit. The way I feel about this game is not allowing me to look at Chet Holmgren the same way I did 2 weeks ago. It's not allowing me to. It's not allowing me to. He ran from the smoke. He wanted absolutely nothing to do with the smoke. I can't respect it. Earlier in the season, about these same two teams, I was fearful that one of them would pull a trigger on Giannis. If not this season, in the offseason, I was very fearful one of them would pull the trigger on Giannis. Spurs, if they win this championship, of course we know Giannis wants to be a Knick. Like, how crazy is it? The last 3 teams left in the fucking playoffs, one of these niggas might end up with Giannis, because only one of them going to win the championship. And we already know that one of them that's not going to win is Oklahoma City. We're just waiting to see if San Antonio going to beat New York, if New York going to beat San Antonio. Right? Giannis wants to be in New York. If New York wins, New York, like, we don't need Giannis. We just won a fucking championship. Yeah, the East was down, but we also just discovered some shit in Cat that now we can go into next season with, and we can go try to repeat with the same group we got. Keep our guys together. And we're good in the hood. Big Body is the king of New York. He's the greatest Knick of all time. That's the Knicks mindset if they win. But that just means now Giannis can focus on fucking Oklahoma City or San Antonio because they didn't win. Okay, San Antonio wins. We're good. We got our young core. Why would we want to break that up? We don't need to fish for shit. We have the guy who's about to run this league for the next 10 to 15 years. For the next decade plus. This guy is about to get us at least 5. He's about to at least do what Timmy did. Why do we need to go get Giannis? We just won. We're ahead of schedule. Oklahoma City's already lost. I said in the regular season, Dub has already been solidified as Shay's number 2. Thunder can offer Milwaukee Chet. Chet can go to Milwaukee, a place I feel Chet could actually thrive in, or I felt at the time. And Chet could be the guy. He could be the guy in Milwaukee. Now, if I'm Milwaukee, I don't know if I want Chet. I'm just being real. I don't know if I want Chet if I'm Milwaukee. Because I don't know if I can trust Chet to be the guy. My son was like, but you know, you won't have to see Wemby until the finals. You only got to see him twice a year. You won't have to see him to the finals. That's absolutely true. Which one is better? To get to the finals and lose, and lose, and lose, or to not get there at all? I don't know. I want to still believe in Chet. I don't want this to be the end all be all, but I gotta see it. I gotta see it. But I said it throughout the season. I do not want to see Giannis with Shea or with Wemby because the shit's not fair. The shit's not fair. We didn't think Oklahoma City would lose, but if Shea has Giannis in place for Holmgren, even with Dub hurt, Oklahoma City's not fucking losing. You're not losing when you got Shea and Giannis. You're not losing, at least for the next 3 to 5 years. They're winning 2 or 3 championships, bare fucking minimum. Giannis with Wemby? Bro, my 11-year-old who ain't even good at 2K, when he gets on the game, he gets Santonio just because he knows he got fucking Wemby. If all else fails, I got Wemby. You gonna give him Giannis? Giannis is already like Wilt Chamberlain on 2K. Like Shaq in real life. And Wemby is like Wilt in real life. Like Wilt and Shaq on the same fucking team. What the fuck are we talking about? They're not losing in the next 3 to 5 years. The NBA cannot, bro. I am completely fine with a Jaylen Brown for Giannis trade and letting Giannis get to Boston. However, there's a stipulation, and I told y'all stipulation. If that shit happens, god damn it, the NBA gotta give us Joker. You gotta give us Jokic. And it has to be Luka and Jokic. We still gotta fucking go through Shea. We still gotta go through fucking Wemby. It's their league. Shea won it in 25. If Wemby wins 4 more, he'll win it in 26. Even if he don't, he just beat Shea. Even if we get Jokic, we're still older. We still have a shorter window. Shea and Wemby still got a decade to do this shit. Well, Wemby got a decade. Shea got close to a decade. Luka and Joker would have to figure this shit out within the next 3 to 5. I'm cool with my boy Tatum getting Giannis if Luka can get Joker. And let's get back to some Lakers Celtics shit. But what I'm not cool with is Giannis ending up in San Antonio or Oklahoma City, because that shit's not fair. That shit ain't right, bro. That shit ain't right. But what if the Knicks lose? I actually agree with Perk for the simple fact that nobody has been more critical of Karl Anthony Towns in his career than me. Nobody. I have been a huge critic. That's right. I've been a huge critic of Cat. At one point I stopped calling the nigga Cat. The same way I stopped calling the Amari Stoudemire Stat. What? Huh? Go ahead. Like back in the gap, I stopped calling Amari Stat because he wasn't playing standing tall and talented. He wanted to be a fucking shooting guard. So I just called that nigga Amari. I said, you don't deserve to be called Stat. Cat, I don't even think Cat is an acronym. I just think it's Karl Anthony Towns. That's the acronym, right? I don't think it's like a nickname. It's just K-A-T. It's Cat. But it's kind of like with AD. There was a time I didn't call AD. I called him number 3. That's what I called that motherfucker. I called him number 3. Because I'm one of the most highly critical guys of Anthony Davis, too. I've told y'all. Guys like AD, Cat, Amari, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, Jaren Jackson Jr. Um, it's a couple more, but those Serge Ibaka, those guys who were bigs, true power forwards, and played with power and force, but then started playing pussy and started wanting to be shooting guards and not rebounding, not defending the rim, not playing in the paint, in the post. I lost respect for them niggas, man. I lost respect for them. Chris Bosh was the only one I gave somewhat of a pass to. You could say Kevin Love, but I think Kevin Love always played the way he played. It's just when he was in Minnesota, he was in Minnesota. He was that guy. So when he went to Cleveland, he had to conform and go from being the guy to being number 3. And when LeBron is number 1, you kind of like number 4 when you're number 3. And we already saw that with Bosh in Miami. But with them, they were still able to win championships. Of course, that was with Bron. And I just felt like they were still very effective. K-Love continues to rebound. He played the same way. It's just he was in a smaller role. Bosh did switch his game because in Toronto at one point he was like the MVP. But he had no choice. All them other niggas I named, they had choices. They switched up their style while they still were in their prime as the young, dominant forces they were. And I hated this shit. I hated it. This cat, my favorite cat I've ever seen. Only thing I don't like about this cat is that he only taking 9-10 shots a game. And I've said that the only way the Knicks can win, he got to get back up to about 14-15 shots. Continue being the playmaker. He's basically playing Draymond Green's role. He's basically, and everybody knows Draymond's one of my all-time favorites. He's basically Draymond. And the crazy thing is, the part that I didn't know, his dad said this has been him. I knew, just like AD, Cat grew up playing point. I knew that. And I knew that Cat had a shot. Like, I hated Cat taking like 8 to 10 threes in Minnesota, but the nigga was making 40%. So I had to say, okay, cool. When I stopped fucking with Cat was when he went from 12 rebounds to 10 to 8. Because now you're just not giving effort. You're just standing out there on the 3-point line. What I love about this cat is, while he's standing outside on offense because he's playing like Magic, the reason he wears 3-2, I didn't know that. And he's being a great playmaker, giving Brunson a chance to be Steph. Remember, Mike Brown was an assistant in Golden State. He's still rebounding. And that's what I love. That's what I absolutely love, is that he's taking less shots, but he's being more efficient, so he's still scoring. But Brunson is Brunson. He's allowing OG to really be that guy, and he's still rebounding. That's what I fucking love. Cat, don't let me down in these finals. Don't let me down. Don't let Wemby take your heart soul too, nigga. This is my favorite version of Cat. My absolute favorite version of him. Like I said, I just still want you taking about 3 to 5 more shots. But I don't feel like the Knicks need Giannis. I feel like they need to run this shit back, even if they do lose. They need to say, at the end of the day, I seen Wemby go at AD last year. His second year in the league, I seen a nigga go at AD. And this year and last year, I seen him go at Giannis. Wemby don't give a fuck. He's not afraid of nobody. I love that little nigga, man. I feel Shea and the Thunder were too arrogant. I feel they looked at this shit as the regular season was the regular season. We don't give a fuck about that shit. Y'all saw how we turned up on Luka now when they was killing shit and everybody was on my Lakers did. Y'all saw what we did to them niggas. And I'm talking about in February, March. That's what I'm talking about. I feel they came into this series saying the regular season, we don't give a fuck about that shit. These niggas not ready. They can't fuck with us. We even had to go through our hardships before we got there. These niggas not ready yet. Even if we do let it go to 7, because I do feel like they let it go to 7. Check this out. Game 1, Wemby wasn't fucking losing that game. He was pissed off. He felt like that was his award. Shit was amazing, right? They just lost game 1. Wemby and them took that shit. What they do? Took game 2, took game 3. They up 2-1. They could have went into game 4 with the mind frame, let's put these niggas to sleep. They didn't. They went into game 4 with the mind frame of they came in our spot, took 1. We just took home court back. Fuck it. They can have game 4. Let's get the people what they want. 2-2 series. We good in the hood. That makes it a 3-game series. We got to win 2. We get 2 at home. Fuck it. They already won their game in Oklahoma City. They're not winning a game 5 or game 7 in Oklahoma City. Fuck game 4. I believe Shea and his guys, who follow Shea's lead, they went, and he's not my homeboy. He's my homeboy because he's from Waco, from the South and from the North. But he the young boy. You know what I'm saying? He's a lot of my young boys. He's their homeboy. And I think if they ask Kenrich in quiet, Kenrich will tell them niggas went in the game for not giving a fuck about that game. They didn't give a fuck about that game. And they lost it. 2-2, who gives a shit? We about to kill these niggas in game 5. Boom, they do that. Game 6, they wanted to end it. But they still, once again, they're arrogant. So in game 6, their mind frame was, in game 6 was, we want to win it, we can win it, we can go ahead and end this shit and not have to worry about, them niggas coming back to OKC. Wemby and them came out again with that, hell no type shit, right? And they quit. OKC said, fuck it, we good. We good in the hood, bro. We still got game 7 at home. So, let's not extend too much energy in this game. We'll try to see if we can make a comeback. Third quarter, we can't. All right, fuck it. It's a wrap. They got this shit. The world got what they want to see. It's a game 7. I believe that was the arrogant mind frame of the Thunder. I wholeheartedly believe that. And it got their ass popped. It got their ass popped because Dub, who I said the whole series, they're fine not playing with Dub. They played without Dub the whole year. But not having AJ Mitchell would cost them. I said that. Caruso didn't have it. McCain had it early, didn't have it late. Chet fucking Holmgren. And we talking so much about Chet that was not even getting acknowledged. One of my favorite players on that team is Lou Dort. Lou Dort might be gone. They might go ahead and extend Wallace and just tell Dort, you know what? We good, bro. We good. They didn't expect Dort to get 5 to 10 points, but they expected Dort to defend and rebound. He didn't even fucking do that. Casey Wallace stayed solid. Casey Wallace can't be Shea second best player though, and the Thunder win. I feel like they was too relaxed. They were too arrogant. They felt like they had the shit in the bag. I feel that way 1,000%. And I actually could ask Kenrich that, or have one of my partners ask Kenrich that, and I feel like he would tell them, especially since those are his partners. I believe they were too laxed. Here's the difference. Wemby wasn't laxed. Wemby had his troops saying, fuck these niggas. That's what Wemby was saying. That's what Wemby had. Castle, Harper, Vassell. These niggas were saying, fuck these niggas. This shit is ours now. We not fucking waiting. They said we needed to wait in the regular season. We just needed to win 42 games, maybe 45 games, take the next step. Get to the playoffs, lose in the first round, take the next step. We said, fuck that. This is our shit now. Fuck them niggas. Um, I'm the real fucking MVP. We the real fucking best team. Fuck them niggas. That's what Wemby said. Quietly, loudly, and everything. Every other which way. And that's the mind frame that the Spurs had. And that's where they got this victory at. That's where they got this victory. Cause they literally said, fuck them niggas. And they went out there and they believed it. They wasn't just talking. They wasn't just saying that shit because it sound cool or because, it's the right thing to think or nah, nigga, they really was on some fuck these niggas type shit. That's what they was 100% on. They was on some fuck these niggas type shit. And they went out there and they handled their motherfucking business. That's what got the Spurs this victory ultimately. Is Shea and his team was chill and they were arrogant and they felt they had this shit in the bag when they could have took a dominating 3-1 lead. They went into that game with the mind frame of we can afford to lose this shit and it won't cost us. When they could have ended it in 6, they went into that game trying to do it, but got punched in their mouth early. And just like in game 4, they said we got game 5. They're not winning another one in OKC. In game 6, they said we got game 7. They're not winning another one in OKC. And they took their opponent for granted. They didn't give the Spurs the respect that the Spurs had earned all season long. Not just against the rest of the league, but nigga, against y'all. Them niggas beat y'all all fucking year. They beat y'all all fucking year. And y'all didn't give them the respect that they deserved and earned. And that's why you got popped. It's just that simple. The Thunder's still not going nowhere. This is going to be about OKC and San Antonio for a long time. That's why the Lakers have to do something. We got to try to go get Jokic. We got to go try to get Giannis. We got to get something with Luka that can really give Luka a fair shot. Because if we don't, Luka's just going to not win shit and be looked at as the most overrated and this and that, when it's like, bro, nigga didn't have a fucking chance with San Antonio and Oklahoma City, and we didn't go get him nobody. I love Austin, and Austin damn sure didn't do what Chet just did, but Austin can't be our number 2 if we're going to compete with San Antonio or Oklahoma City and whatever the East has to offer. Luka has to get that guy. We got to get Giannis. We got to get Jokic. We got to get Jaylen Brown. I prefer Jason Tatum. But we got to get one of them guys, man. We got to get one of them guys. Luka, he deserves that, man. Because San Antonio and Oklahoma City, they're not going nowhere. Oklahoma City lost, but they're not going nowhere. They got so much collateral and capital to just rebuild. Because you're not going to be rebuilding from the bottom. You're going to be rebuilding from the stance of We were right there from repeating. Okay, the repeat is gone. We can still go get 2 out of 3 and still have an opportunity to be called the dynasty. What do we need to do to make that happen? And they got everything to go out there and make that shit happen in the next few months. And continue on it up until like February of next year to be in position to do it in a year. So they're not going nowhere. So teams got to still figure that shit out. But San Antonio's arrived, and they're for real. And teams really got to figure out that 7'6" motherfucker, because he's not human. He is not human. Just wanted to talk to y'all, man. Be coming back with some more stuff later. I appreciate you, especially if you made it through these 57 minutes.